Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today is going to be a declutter. A lot of these items are items that either didn't work for me or they're very old in my collection and I just need to unfortunately get rid of them. So I'm just gonna move my tea out of the way. It can be us and my scratched table here. Also, a quick note about my hands. I do get eczema on my hands in the winter. Winter's very hard on my hands, so I'm sorry if they're kind of gross looking. It is unfortunately how it is for me in the wintertime. But I have a whole bin of things to go through. Let's go ahead and get started. So starting with this Bare Minerals blush. I've been resisting getting rid of this for quite some time, but it's actually very old in my collection. This is one of the Bounce and Blur blushes from Bare Minerals, and this is the shade Mauve Sunrise. I do not have a lot of shades like this, so I've been holding on to this for a very much longer than its expiration date. And when it comes to cream products, I honestly don't pay attention to the expiration date. If the product is still good, I will hang on to it and use it. But this is so old, I'm actually starting to get concerned about using it. So this is one of those products, unfortunately, that just needs to go because of age. I picked up these two blushes from Catrice at TJ Maxx, and they're unfortunately both bad. They smell terrible, and after getting comments from you guys, that seems to be the problem with the Catrice blushes at TJ Maxx right now. So if you see them there and you're tempted, I wouldn't recommend it. Both of these had gone bad. You may have spotted this Dior blush when I pulled over the little bin. So this is one of the very popular Rosy Glow blushes. This is the shade Coral, and one of my favorite creators to watch loves this. I cannot get into it. So I've noticed that in other people's declutters, these actually do tend to go bad. They get like this white powder on the top of them. So while mine is still good, I'm gonna try and find someone to give this to. It is incredibly sheer. You really need to build it up in order to see it even on my super pale skin. I'm really not sure who I can give this to, but I'm gonna look around, see who I can find in my life who would like to try a Dior blush. This was actually gifted to me. I did not purchase this myself, so it was a subscriber who gave it to me. So again, thank you so much. It just did not work for me, so I'm gonna find someone to give this to. Oh, here's a skincare product. This is the Blue Tea Sleep Night Oil from e.l.f. Skin. This is actually a newer product, and I thought it was working just fine for me, but I have found that my skin is just so sensitive. I can't do any sort of retinol, retinoid, anything anymore. So this is a 1% gram active retinoid. It's a very nice lightweight oil, so I'm gonna see who I can find to give this to. Here is a blush that has just gotten too old in my collection. I went and tested it, and it does have a little bit of an off smell, so it's time to move this out of my collection. I have loved this for so many years. This is the Blush Bomb from Flower Beauty in the shade Pinched. I've had it in Project Pans. You can see I've used quite a bit of this liquid blush, which for me, you know, since I have so many blushes, that's pretty good, but it is time for this to move on, sadly. Here's a product that is still good, but I've decided the color is just not for me. This is this gorgeous lipstick from Merit. This is from the original launch they had, and this is the shade Slip, and it is such a beautiful formula, but I cannot make this shade work for me. I've tried over and over, and it is just not the right color brown for me. So I'm gonna try and find someone who I think would enjoy this brown lipstick. So I've been testing, these are samples from, from Nordstrom, but this is the Prada foundation, and I've been enjoying it, but I noticed it was making me break out. So originally I was just gonna finish these. I'm not going to. I think what's making me break out is I think this has niacinamide in it. I know it has like skincare stuff in it. Anyway, I have the shades LW5 and LW10. I'm gonna see if I can find someone in my life who would like to try the Prada foundation. All right, here's something, there's nothing wrong with it. The color just doesn't do anything for me. So this is a beautiful formula from MAC. This is the Mineralized Blush in the shade Sweet Enough. And this, it just does not provide enough. It's a very pretty soft pink shade, but it's actually kind of matte on my skin tone. I think this would look a lot better on someone who has kind of a blue undertone. So I have a friend in mind who I think might enjoy this very gentle color pink blush. Okay, this is one I have tried to make work for me, and if I'm careful enough, I can. But I've decided this shade is just not meant for me. It's meant for someone with deep skin. So this is the shade Back and Butter in the NYX Buttermelt blush, and it is this gorgeous wine red shade. It is just so pigmented, it's hard for me to work with this shade. So I do have some friends in my life with beautiful deep skin, so I'm gonna give this to one of them. Here's a few lip products. This is a lip gloss from Neutrogena, the Neutrogena Hydra Boost. I was actually thinking I would target this to finish it, but I don't like it enough to finish it. I'm actually surprised whenever I see this in people's like best of drugstore videos. I really don't think it's anything special, and I've had mine for a long time. It's one of those things where once a lip gloss gets to a certain age in my collection, I either need to choose to finish it or decide if I'm not even going to wear it, and at this point I'm ready to just let this one go. And it's the same with this one from NYX. This is the Butter Gloss in the shade Sorbet. I like the butter glosses, but this is just a shade I only wear rarely, kind of in the summertime, and there's no way I can finish it. And it's getting up there in age in my collection. I think it might be over 4 years old, which for me, that's too old for lip gloss, so time for this to go. This one from Fenty. So this is one of the cream lip glosses. This was a limited edition shade. It's the shade Peach Pout, and I really enjoy the shade, but there's something about this one, no matter how much I try to make myself like it, I noticed that after a short amount of time on my lips, it really wants to sink into lines. It's very noticeable for that, and so it's just not that flattering of a formula, unfortunately. I like the big doe foot. I enjoy kind of the thicker gloss, but it holds me back from using it, and it's getting old in my collection anyway, so if I'm not going to use it, I might as well just move it out. Here's a product that's just getting old in my collection. This is the Workout Ready Lip and Cheek Palette from e.l.f. I actually think that the products in here are beautiful. It's a highlighter in here that I hit pan on last year, and then 3 cream like blush or like lip products. I think e.l.f. should bring this formula back, honestly. Not necessarily in this packaging, but maybe in like little single compacts or something. This formula of cream blush, it's very pigmented and very nice. It's just gotten old in my collection, and I have other things I prefer, so I think I'm gonna get rid of this. Someone gave this to me to try. This is a newer product from Physicians Formula. This is the Mineral Wear Diamond Dust, and it's in the shade Luminous Gleam. I can't get this to show up on me. It is just incredibly low intensity. I mean, it looks like it should do something, but it really doesn't do much. So I'm gonna pass that along. Hopefully someone can get some use out of it. Oh, here's something I haven't even opened. So it's kind of a snafu with the Revlon lip shines. I ordered them all on Amazon, and they sent me 2 of one shade when I had specifically ordered 1 of every shade. Well, anyway, now I have an extra one of these. This is the shade Nude Illuminator. So I'm gonna give this brand new product to a friend. This blush from Pixi. This is the On the Glow Blush Tinted Moisture Stick. So people love this, and I don't know why. I think partially it's the shade. I got this light pink shade, and it's so sheer on me that I build it up, and you can still hardly see it, and it gets to a point where my cheeks, I feel like I have a ton of cream product on my cheeks, but you still can't see anything. So sorry if you can hear my dog walking around in the background. So hopefully I have a friend who can use this. So this is actually a nice blush from MAC. This is a classic shade too. This is the shade Melba in the matte formula. And there's just something about it. I don't think it's as flattering on me as other blushes I have in this kind of peachy color range. So I'm not just gonna hang on to it for nostalgia's sake. I'm gonna hand this over to someone who will hopefully enjoy it more than I will. Liquid lipstick from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I really didn't care for the formula. It was very drying, and I didn't like the shade either. This is the shade Crush, and it's this shade of pink that just does not work for me at all. I only used it one time, so hopefully I can find someone who would like to try it. So I actually ended up with 2 of these beautiful little lip to cheek quads from RMS Beauty, and it's because when I ordered it, there was obviously something wrong with this shade. Turn this so you can see it better. Like, it is just not the same texture as these. This one is gritty and just weird, and these other 2 blushes and the highlighter are beautiful. And so they ended up sending me another one. So I have one in my collection, but you know, these 3 shades are still fine. So I don't know, I might give this to my daughter. I might just scrape out this one and let her use these. Here's a powder from CoverGirl, the Clean Fresh powder. This one's kind of got a following. People really like it. It didn't do much for me. So, and I'm not much of a powder person. I really don't need very many powders, and I already have a few, so I can just pass this one along. Here is a blush from Stila. This is the convertible color, and it's the shade Lilium, and this is beautiful. It's just old, so I need to pass it along. Well, I shouldn't say pass it along. I need to just declutter it, sadly. It's a very pretty product, though. Here's a single eyeshadow from CoverGirl. This is a very classic shade. This is the shade Mink. I have so many beautiful eyeshadows, and while I enjoy the kind of understated color of this shade, The formula just is not good, and I have such nice eyeshadows, I figure I don't need to hold on to this one. This hurts me because I really enjoy this. This is the cream blush from Milk Makeup, and now it's been years since they made it in these really big sticks, so you can see how old my stick is, which is why I'm deciding to declutter it. This is the shade Work, and honestly, I think it's a very, very flattering rosy shade. I would happily have this back in my collection, but yeah, I didn't even make it through a fraction of this giant stick, but I've had it for years, and I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable. I've gotten to a point where I'm uncomfortable putting it on my skin, so time for it to go. Here's a little quad that I think I'm gonna give to my daughter. So these have been around forever. This is a quad of cream eyeshadows from Revlon. This is Not Just Nudes, and I actually like these. I thought they're good. I really thought they were flattering on the eye. Yes, they creased, but that never really bothered me, I guess. But I find I'm just not reaching for these ever, so I can pass this along. Something that's getting pretty old in my collection, this lip product from, actually there's two of these, from Kaja. I think I got these from Ipsy ages and ages ago. And these actually have an expiration date on them of 2022, so I use them way past their expiration date. These were the Click heart melters, and again, with lip products, once they get to a certain age, it just grosses me out, so I'm ready to let these go. Here's a blush from e.l.f. that I think has dried up. I actually really enjoyed this shade. This was the shade Maui in the Luminous Putty Blush, but you can kind of tell by looking at that there, it is dry and kind of crumbly, but I actually really like this. So kind of a bummer that I have to get rid of this one. This one I keep going back and forth on because I really like the shade, but I, for whatever reason, very rarely use it. This is the blush sticks in the shade Roosevelt. It is a beautiful rosy color. Well, it looks just brown there when I rolled it up, but it's like a rosy brown. And it's actually a really pretty toasty blush. I've had it forever and I very rarely use it, so I figure I might as well pass it along. Here's another one I just can't get into. I know people rave about these Rare Beauty blushes. I only have this one shade in a mini. This is the shade Bliss. And I think this has gone bad. Like, it just felt gritty to me when I'm trying to swatch it. Yeah, it's weird. So I'm gonna get rid of it. Oh, and I had this randomly stuck in here. This is from Huda Beauty. This is a sample of the Easy Blur foundation, and this has niacinamide in it, so I'm gonna give that to someone. Hopefully someone will enjoy trying these. I just can't do niacinamide. And actually, that is everything. So we are at the end of the declutter. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. This is always where I talk about my tea of the day. Today I am drinking Big Red Robe Wu Yi Oolong. I'm gonna put on the screen the tasting notes for these because these Wu Yi Oolongs are very complex and beautiful, beautiful teas. And I have a hard time describing them, so hopefully those tea notes are helpful. Goodness, so good. Thank you so much for following along with me today. I will see you again very soon in the next one. Bye.